A good sports manga gets your blood pumping. Slam Dunk does this by showing us how a young punk with no knowledge of the game can disrupt the flow with pure physical ability. Haikyuu does this by showing how previously unscalable walls can be climbed with good teamwork. Blue Lock demonstrates this by telling us teamwork sucks. Now get in this cage and don't come out until you score some goals. Ashi is somewhere between the first two. Today we have my first official request, which is Ashi, a football manga, which I hadn't heard of, but is apparently pretty popular. It has over 400 chapters, an existing anime, and a new season was just announced. Because it has over 400 chapters, I'll be reading the first 50 and giving my first impressions, and then, if it ever finishes and I continue reading, I'll give a full review. With that said, let's begin. It follows Aoi Ashito, a young ball hog with a blunt but well-meaning personality. He's loud, he's proud, and he's got an ego that would make that guy from Blue Lock blush. Aoi is selfish, he's poor, and he loves football like nobody else, except everybody else in this manga. He's also incredibly short-tempered. This trait unfortunately causes him to get into a row with local Yo Mama champion, this guy, leading to Aoi and his football team losing their very last middle school game. Devastated by this turn of events, luckily, Aoi has a chance encounter with the mysterious Coach Fukuda, thus beginning Aoi's descent into Tokyo's brutal and competitive youth Esperian football team. And right there is the basic premise. A skilled but inexperienced football prodigy joins a highly selective Japanese training program designed to make the players the best they can be. Why does this sound familiar? So yeah, this manga has a very similar premise to Blue Lock. The only difference in this case is that this author didn't take inspiration from the guys behind Saw. I've noticed Ashi and Blue Lock get compared a lot because of these similarity in premises, but Blue Lock has a lot more shonen battle-like tendencies, while Ashi is much more grounded. Aoi has skill, but due to his selfish playstyle, he hasn't learned a lot of the fundamentals required in teamwork settings. So basically, a lot of the early chapters focus on Aoi catching up to the rest of the players. Since one of the major themes of the manga is Aoi figuring things out on his own, these problems are also extended by way of the fact that a lot of the staff members on the team go and say some really vague stuff. Aoi will be facing a problem and one of the teachers will say something like, "You must find the ball inside before you find the ball outside." And then Aoi will be like, thanks man, but I just wanted to know where the bathroom was. This can get a little frustrating, especially when it deals with interpersonal conflicts within the team. They don't have to straight up give him the answer, but it'd be nice if they were less vague about it, give him a bit more solid direction on what he should be doing. I'm just saying, I watched all of Suits for the third time, and I'll be damned if I'll sit through another second of miscommunication-based drama.
What did you just say to me?
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 The pattern for the first 50 chapters is that Aoi has a problem, solves it by getting some experience, but adds in just a little extra so everyone can see what a genius he is. Now I want to talk about Aoi as a character. I've already talked about some of his bad points, now let me talk about his good points. He's kind, honest, and loves his family, but the most important thing for a sports manga protagonist, the man has got passion. No, the man has got Italian gangsters behind him. He's got
passione.
He loves football, and while he does have that inexperience I mentioned, he's also got two things going for him. First is he's a very hard-working guy. He works real hard to master any technique he's taught, with one of the earlier chapters showing him going all night long. He makes the lazy lord from my last video look like some kind of hard-working lord. I can't believe I spent $2,000 on those improv classes. His second and more unique ability is his spatial awareness. When he actually calms down and takes in his surroundings, he can tell exactly where his teammates are, where they need to go to make the optimal play, and the exact spot to stand in after the game to be the first one in line for those delicious football hot dogs. Unfortunately, the part where he needs to calm down is the most difficult part of the ability. The boy's a steaming pile of energy. And don't ask him to explain how it works either. He's one of those bad explainy guys. Damn you, Improvaholics Anonymous. Anyway, my first impression of this guy was mixed. His ambitions are strong, he is hardworking, but this can also tend to some overdramaticness that I find a bit off-putting. I'm also not a fan of his hair, which, fun fact, apparently this is a reference to another player, a real-life player, who other characters actually say that Aoi reminds them of, but after looking up pictures online, I gotta say the resemblance is a bit hairy. He's also kind of weird with the ladies. Like, there's a scene early on where two girls come up to him because one has a crush on him and the other one is trying to wingman her friend. But then he starts trying to kiss the girl who's not interested in him. And I can't tell if this is just supposed to be like a bad bit or if he has zero game outside of football. He gets character progression, though, and I'm sure there's more beyond the 50 chapters I read. So he's pretty good. Of course, there are side characters. It's not just about a guy passing the ball back and forth to himself. Unfortunately for me, most of these characters, I think, are either forgettable or unlikable. The one exception being a gangster who joins the football team who clearly loves his homies. In particular, Coach Fukuda is fine. He's the one who sees Aoi's talent and tries to cultivate it. My problem is he always seems to be in control in the manga for the first 50 chapters, and I can foresee this getting really old fast if that's how it keeps up with the rest of the manga. I'd like him to experience some despair as well. That sounded more menacing than I intended. What I mean is, I'd like to see him not be in control sometimes, either through surprise by Aoi evolving in a way he doesn't expect, or maybe him just realizing he's not as smart as he thinks he is. Coach Fukuda's little sister is also clearly the romantic interest for Aoi, which is fine. There are some cute moments between the two, but obviously I doubt romance is going to be at the forefront of this series. So personally, I'm not too invested in it. As for the art, I think it's great. The action is easy to follow and visually stimulating. The characters are expressive and unique. Not much to say, it's nice to look at. It's no Blue Lock, of course, but I'm sure the fans are tired of hearing that. Now, while I do have some small problems with the characters, overall the art and the story are great. And I'm excited to see what's past the first 50 chapters. I'd give it a recommendation, and I think I'd be accurate in saying you'd enjoy it. And I'm always accurate.